Greetings, friends and followers. This is the Joxua, otherwise known as Adam Wolf, the scapegoat on Spotify. So, for some reason, this has become a topic of conversation recently. How people feel about Israel and the Jews. So, I identify as a Christian mystic, a Kashmiri Shaivist, and a Kabbalist. Hold on a second, I'm gonna make it so you can see this. Gonna get real close. That's God's name in Hebrew. And it's also called the ineffable name because it can't be spoken. So the reason that it looks like this on my neck is because in that form, written from top to bottom, it looks like a man. So from my perspective, based on my research, the reason Jehovah, God's name, can't be spoken is because it's not spoken by words alone. It's spoken through thought, action, words, and relationship. By being a rational person. And from the ancient perspective, if you weren't a philosopher and you didn't observe the praxis of your philosophy, you didn't have a soul. So there were these different philosophical families back in the day that basically warred against each other through debate. And it used to happen in India too with Shastri. And then Shastri just basically disappeared from India. Where did it go? Ancient Greece. That's where it went. That's where it went. What am I trying to tell you? So, there's two ways that you can be falsified. Your philosophy can be proven wrong and incorrect. Or you can falsify yourself by not following your philosophy. From my perspective, Hinduism, specifically Shaivism, Jewish religion, and Christianity are compatible with each other. And from my perspective, they have the same origin. What Israel was trying to do with the 12 tribes that were nomadic, the 12 tribes were basically 12 different nationalities of people, including, I think, 2 white tribes, and then there was a Hindu tribe. It was different tribes of people that were trying to basically worship the same God, which is kind of where the concept of America comes from, but slightly different. Slightly different. So Israel was America before America became America. And I'm going to explain something to you. When Kabbalists refer to Muslims as Ishmaelites. So Ishmael was the son of Hagar, and she was using the evil eye curse. The green-eyed demon, Invidia, to keep Sarah from getting pregnant. And Sarah said, because I can't get pregnant, why don't you take my slave woman so that she can give you a child? And Abraham did, and Ishmael was conceived. After, I don't know, this went on for a long period of time, Jehovah was like, screw this shizzle. This lady's getting pregnant. And so Sarah had conceived a child when she was like 90 years old or something. Can't remember. And then Ishmael was basically harassing in a very bad way Isaac. And Sarah said to Abraham, she said, get rid of this slave woman. Get rid of her. So in the Quran, there is a passage that says, the Christians lied and the Jews lied, but Allah was the best liar. And what that means, according to Moses Maimonides, is that the Bible predicts Moses, and the Bible predicts Jesus. But the Bible doesn't predict a prophet by the name of Muhammad. Both the Jews and the Christians agree that lying is bad, but there are several scriptures in the Quran that says Allah is the best liar. So, moving forward. Kabbalists. Oh, okay, there's actually a scripture in the Bible that says, there will be many. The only blessing that God gave Ishmael is that there would be many of him. And what they say about Ishmael is that his fist was raised against his brothers, and all of his brothers were against him. Let that sink in for a second. So moving on down the line, we have from the Kabbalist perspective, they refer to Christians as Edomites, which means descendants of Esau. And I don't disagree with that. So Esau, the name Jacob means the usurper, the supplanter. What it means is to uproot something and then plant something in its place. That's literally the meaning of Jacob. So, and the reason that they say that Esau broke the covenant is because they portray him as stupid. His father loved him. He was a mighty hunter. But they portray him as stupid. He comes back from a hunt, right? And his brother, when he's stealing the blessing from his brother, he covers himself with, like, fur. Because his brother was apparently hairy, muscular, physical guy. And apparently Jacob was not that. So, what happened was, from the Jewish perspective, they stole the blessing from Esau that was meant for Esau, the birthright, right? And they said, they doubled down on this because, like, when Esau lost the birthright, he married 2 Canaanite women, which was forbidden. But when I debate Jews on this subject, This is what I asked them. Who decides if Esau broke the covenant or not? Because if the Jews decide that Esau broke the covenant and it's not God's choice, that means that their God is not. But if God can decide who broke the covenant with him, or if God can make a new covenant, that means something different. So I do think Christians have been blessed. And this is what people don't understand about Jewish eisegesis. I'm an autodidact, so I pronounce it the way it's spelled. It's spelled exegesis. It's pronounced eisegesis, okay? Pardes, which is a metaphor for paradise. Pesher and Sod, the 4 levels of interpretation of the Bible. Jewish eisegesis. So this is one of the things that they always talk about. Esau came in. He's like, "Give me some of the red there, the red," right? Because he was dumb and he was referring to like red lentil stew. So according to him, he sacrificed his birthright for a red lentil stew. But the color red is associated with Edomites. And it's interesting because the Garden of Eden is also Edom. And then they say that David had a ruddy complexion. Ruddy means red. So once again, Jewish eisegesis is connecting this color red in a lineage. And Jesus traced his origins back through David, to David, who had a ruddy complexion. So, and this is what's funny, is that they say that people are like, "Oh no, Jesus wasn't white, he looked like this." Right. So, do you know what the word, what is it? Caucasian means? White. Do you know what the etymology of the word Caucasian is? The Caucasus Mountains in Russia. Do you know what language we're speaking right now? Proto-Indo-European. All of Western languages come from Proto-Indo-European. And you can trace this through haplogroups. We were over there. And now we're here. So Jesus definitely could have been white. So, yeah. I think I'm very pro-Israel. But I don't agree necessarily with every Jewish person. I understand that the Jews were kicked out of, historically, every country. And that's why Britain said we're returning them to their homeland and they can defend themselves. Now, the people that are calling themselves Palestinian over there, they were there living with other Jews who were also there, and some Christians. But at some point in the past, they converted to Islam. So I don't mind. I don't care if you're over there calling yourself a Palestinian or whatever. But Islam has no right to be in that area. Period. Full stop. There were when, when, when Israel got attacked, the people, the Palestinians, the Philistines, that they allowed to come into Israel and work for them, spied on Israel and told Hamas how to attack. So, yeah. And I have problems, right? I have issues with things that Jewish people have done in my country. I think that Hollywood is run and controlled like a monopoly by Jewish communists. Communists, Jews, and Jewish communists. And I do not like the manipulation they have put on my country and my society. And I will explain this to you. I will explain this to you. I don't want to go on too long. But, so the allegory of Plato's cave. If you read the allegory of Plato's cave, it is a primitive movie theater, underground. It's also the Greek caste system. The audience are the slaves. The guardians are the actors who are putting on the shadow play. And the director is the philosopher king who's above ground contemplating the sun. Because Plato was a monist, right? And he believed everything came from the mind of God. So whenever you see Plato and Aristotle standing next to each other, Aristotle is going like this, because he was an epiphenomenalist. He believed everything was emergent properties from physical reality. And Plato is pointing up like this, because he's a monist. He believes that everything comes from the mind of God. But Plato was also a contemporary of Pythagoras. Rosicrucians and Freemasons trace their origins back to Pythagoras. Pythagoras created the modern system of Western music, the octaves. He absorbed the cult of Bacchus and the cult of Orpheus, the actors and the musicians, because if you can control what people see and hear, you can manipulate what they think, say, and do. And I believe that Hollywood used to be good. I believe that news media at some point in the past was better. But I believe that it got invaded, usurped, and supplanted by communists.